In episode 3, we're going on another wee adventure to see the Great Mountains and to hear the roar of the rivers as we explore the towns of the Shires. We are super lucky to have that on our doorstep. And that's just what we've seen in 4 miles. Wait till you see the rest. In this series, we'll be travelling through the rolling green hills of the Scottish countryside.
You know what? This is one of those wow moments of your life.
Where all the Edinburgh hints of Scotland's history can be discovered.
Well, this was fantastic.
With 10,000 miles and 34 shires, all home to hearty Scots from all walks of life.
Spending my entire waking moment thinking about colour and design and yarns.
This will be a great big epic story about people.
And she said she was convinced that it was the berry bees that got her through the marathon.
And the history of their town.
It's lovely architecture, good history. It's soaked in history, really.
This time, we're heading somewhere over the rainbow to discover some of Perthshire's LGBTQ+ friendly spaces and faces along Perthshire's Route 57. It will take us on the magical mystery tour all the way to the fair city of Perth. Come with us.
The third leg of our journey together is home to all walks of life. Route 57, passing through the scenic backyard of Scotland, is written for the people and by the people. And for us, it all starts where we left off. Here we hope to discover the little things that make us one big, connected family.
And this shop just brings back memories to me, and I'll be crying in a minute.
How one woman inspired a whole community to create change in the Shire.
When your heart has room for everybody, then your heart is full of love.
The Star Trek and Hobbit living fan of the many colourful hairstyles throughout the Perthshire Pride community.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg? He's like, yeah, sure.
And a first-hand experience at just how magical kindness can really be.
That's amazing. Like, you have no idea what that's done to him. Like, he loves that. You've accepted him into that.
Join us as we travel with pride through Scotland's historic heartland.
You know you got it if it makes you feel good.
I mean, how could you be anything else here but happy? Oh.
Welcome to Blairgowrie, the agricultural heart of Scotland. Its rolling green hills touch all points of the Shire. And there are few places better to start a journey. This is the Well Meadow. It's the beating heart of this wee town. The trees were planted here in 1882, and since then, the park has been accessible from 4 sides, with paths leading to the central point, the war memorial to the fallen of 2 world wars. The benches here make a good place to relax. Enjoy the nearby flowers and observe the hustle and bustle of this busy little town. A 2-minute walk to the nearby library will not only reveal Diva's colourful alpaca, but also how this town gained its reputation for just a few exciting years as the folk capital of the world back in the 1960s.
So we've come down here at the riverside while we wait on the bus which will take us to Perth. And I wanted to show you this magazine. This is Scotland's LGBTQ+ national magazine, Somewhere for Us. If we turn to page 21 in their latest edition, it will tell us a little bit about Scotland's famous song, Freedom Come All Ye. This song played a hugely significant role in the Scottish folk culture revival of the 20th century. The man behind it, poet, songwriter and political activist Hamish Henderson, was born right here in Blairgowrie to a single mother in November 1919, and 100 years later, he can still be found just up the road there at the local library. But what's less known is that he was actually bisexual and a real voice and advocate of the LGBTQ+ community and of ordinary working people, including the travellers. Historically, Hamish was largely left out of the Scottish narrative because of his strong vocal support of individuals working collectively, cooperatively, creatively, and collaboratively to form a self-governed and self-determined democratic community. In other words, he believed that the value of a person was not found in their wallets or purse, but rather in their strong minds and independent spirit and identity. I've always thought that being authentic and being proud about it was a wonderful thing. And as we're about to discover, that colourful spirit is bigger than it's ever been out here in rural Scotland. So this is the 57. It will take us on the magical mystery tour all the way to the fair city of Perth. Come with us.
This part of our journey follows in Hamish's footsteps, Blairgowrie to Perth via Coupar Angus. 16 miles and a lot of beautiful open space in between. In the 1950s, this whole area was still a gathering space for traveller families. And since Hamish loved colourful fields and all things utterly, he was often found camping among the travellers, singing songs and learning with them. And looking out over the fields, we start to get a feeling that rural attitudes have continued to change for the better.
We are super lucky to have that on our doorstep. And that's just what we've seen in 4 miles. Wait till you see the rest.
A mere 4 miles out of Blairgowrie, and it's our first stop, the Jewel of Strathmore. That's right. It was given this name thanks to the magical choo-choo trains that once made their way along the now dismantled railway bridge over the River Isla. And believe it or not, the Queen's last expedition was to here, and she likened the river to a meandering silver ribbon, majestically flowing toward the horizon.
You see, with the arrival of a train in 1837, it meant much more than we might think. Think about the connection, the accessibility and the burst of life that happened because of that. 85 shops and a distillery, just to name a few, sprung up around this place, making Coupar Angus connected to the rest of Scotland for the first time.
If you've had enough of the rat race, come to Coupar Angus. It's like a slice of buttery toast, homely and comforting. The townsfolk take great pride in their place, and the general vibe is quite relaxed. And for many of us quirky folks, there's funky junk, bits and bobs, and all sorts of reused treasures to discover.
We are about to head into the reuse store behind me. Apparently, they're sharing a cooperative and timeless way to find welcome bargains for things that are new to us. So, come along, we'll have a wee nosy inside and see what the story is.
It got the ultimate credit when local SNP John Swinney officially opened the project with Forward Coupar Angus at an opening ceremony. This is a town that takes climate change very seriously, and its success is in no small part heavily linked to the local people who believe in that mission.
Hello, come in. This is the Coupar Angus charity shop. As you can see, we sell loads of stuff. This is all donated by the public. Hello, Anne. Hello. This shop this week, the shop's for anybody who wants to rent it, for a group or a whatever. This is for the Abbey Church this fortnight. Alan and Sheila Legg run it for the church, and I'm help. And as you can see, it's quite a busy shop. Got lots of customers. but they got this grant to buy the shop. It was owned by a local businessman, and he sold them it. It was run as a charity shop originally, but he was wanting rid of it. He sold it to the community, and this is where they make the money to pay back a lot of grants that they get and different things. And this is Lucas and his daughter. Hello. Everything is books, clothes through in that department, and just everything that you would need in a house or somebody's wanting to get rid of, and it makes money. Maybe at this time of year, it's springtime, and they're clearing out cupboards and that sort of thing, or the kids have grown up and they've got toys that are lying around and they're bringing them to the charity shop. The more we sell recycled goods, the more it's saving the planet, because they're no making articles, clothes, different things. It's not going into the landfill. The groups that have started up, there's a Pride of Place, there's just different groups that have started up that are making a difference to the town. I've just bought this chair for my husband to sit up in his bedroom watching the telly when I want to watch the telly. Just things like that. And I mean, the kids love coming in because there's always, although they get loads of toys at home, they love coming in and seeing what's in the shop. There's linen. It's usually tidy at the beginning of the day, but at the end of the day, it's just a mess. There's curtains, pillows, quilts, towels, some places we haven't sold them all. Shoes, that's a great seller, shoes. Pets, stuff, garden stuff, everything. We've even sell shopping trolleys, suitcases, children's clothes. This gets messed up and tidied up every day, but we'll have good clothes. Fur coats, if anybody wants a fur coat. Handbags, just everything. Chairs. As you can see, we sell anything anybody brings in. This part used to belong to a great uncle of mine. He was a painter and decorator, and I used to help on a Saturday to let him go to the football. And I suppose I was brought up in the town, and my life's been here all the years I've been living here. I was born in the town. And I like Coupar Angus. It's nice, lovely place. We're in a lovely area, and this shop just brings back memories to me. And I'll be crying in a minute.
These issues, they do scare me a bit. I mean, global warming is this giant unseen force until it's not. I mean, you saw everyone in that shop determined to act, that we can do something to turn this ship around, no matter how small. I mean, we can do something to get past our political differences, our personal greed, and our belief that the money makes the world go around, and come together to fix what we can. I mean, literally everything in that shop is connected to someone, somewhere, which makes us all connected to each other. And those ethical relationships, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, is what we've just witnessed here in Coupar Angus. And when those forgotten treasures end up in our own home, they'll remind us, like the song says, we are family.
Anywho, Route 57 is calling us once again, and it's not long before the greenery greets us as fast as the clouds move across the sky. But that's not the only thing moving with speed these days.
So, the Scottish government decriminalised homosexuality back in 1980. Same-sex marriages became legal in 2014. Even just a wee while ago, the Scottish government became the first national government to fund transgender rights across all of Europe. It's put Scotland on this sort of shared journey towards full social and legal equality for all. And Perth even came fifth in its attempt to become the UK City of Culture 2021. The ripple effects of all these changes can be felt all over Europe and Scotland, as Scotland consistently ranks in the top 5 on the Europe's Rainbow Index. You see, we do big things like this in Scotland. You know, big things done in a compassionate, community spirit kind of way. And I like that.
A mere 50 minutes out of Blairgowrie and we're in Perth, a small rural city defined by its royal roots and painted in, wait for it, 200,000 acres of happy trees. If you ever wondered where you heard the term Big Tree County, we're looking at it. Scotland's LGBTQ+ community have been coming together to march for Pride since 1995, when it all kicked off in the capital, Edinburgh. Fast forward 26 years, Pride in Scotland has grown to include more than 25 different events throughout the country's rural towns and cities, including Trans Pride and Perthshire Pride. They vary from large-scale commercial Pride events with sponsors to independent grassroots marches organised by the people at the very heart of these communities. The pandemic may have meant that many Pride events got cancelled, but the colourful spirit lives on.
Thank you. Cheers. See ya. Look at that. We're in Perth. So we've just come across the road here. We've seen a big purple seat. Now, Pride is a big deal around here. This isn't just any old event. It actually started with one local woman who soon grew this event into a community of people inspired to transform this wee rural city into the friendly, inclusive space that we know of today. Their collective efforts saw their first Pride event begin in 2018, but it also saw the return of Gandalf. He came back to the Shires the year later in 2019, and that's when we hosted our first Pride March, along with local celebrity drag queen Scarlett Skylar Ray. And so today, we have arranged to meet the founder of Perthshire Pride. But we've got to find Perth's most colourful wall. Apparently, that's where we're meeting her. Come along. Now, Tay Street is where they did their first Pride event. It was their first Pride March, and this is where Gandalf walked with Perthshire Pride and the LGBTQ+ community. However, you walk past this church, St Matthew's Cathedral. Now, this wee cathedral, I don't say wee lightly, I mean, it is massive. You can see it from every corner of Perth, pretty much. However, there's a wee story, and apparently there's a man in here called Rev Burton. I'm not sure if he's still there, but he came out at one point and apologised on behalf of the church to the LGBTQ+ community for the way the church had treated that community throughout history. And that was a bold and courageous thing to do. Obviously, we're much more open-minded today, but it's thanks to people like him and Claire, who we're about to meet, that things have changed for the better.
Yeah, so this is actually an artist called Kelsey Montague. Perth City Centre commissioned her to do some artwork, and it's absolutely beautiful. Fun fact as well, she's also done artwork for Taylor Swift. Yeah, so we've got a little bit of famousness here. So yeah, it's Kelsey Montague's stuff. I actually don't know officially what it's called, but it's almost like it's like wings of, like flower wings almost, which is really cool. Lots of people take pictures in front of this as well, and it's a really nice area. And it also offsets it to the wonderful Culture Quarter where we are just now. This is what this is called, the Culture Quarter. And this is actually the home to our Pride. This is where we host our Pride events every year in August.
Okay.
But there's so much more I can show you down if you want to. Do you want to come and show me?
Yeah, let's go.
I'll show you. Here we have the theatre, Perth Theatre. They're really good as well. They really help us out at our Pride events, and they host like the food and the drinks area and stuff. It's lovely there. So that's where you can catch all of the latest shows. We have like the Premier Inn and stuff as well, where a lot of people stay when they're here, actually at the Perthshire Pride events. And this is also where we start hosting our Pride Village Market. You kind of get into this open area here, which is it's the Horsecross Plaza. It's still the Culture Quarter. We've got the amazing concert hall there, which is on Pride Day. You would normally see lots of people going in there for tea, coffee, drinks, you know, anything they want. And they've now made this area like a better place to kind of sit and actually soak in the sun, which we've obviously got today as well. And yeah, this would normally be hustle bustle on the day of Pride. There would just be absolutely like loads of people everywhere, lots of colour, lots of flags, lots of everything. So on our actual last Pride event, we had the first ever Pride Parade. That came down from Tay Street and actually came down like this road here. So you would have normally seen lots and lots of people parading down this area, and then coming into the major the Horsecross Plaza here, which was absolutely chock-a-block last Pride when we had Sir Ian McKellen come along. Sir Ian McKellen was holding this flag, the one that I've got today as well, and we all kind of came into this area, and this was set up with like a stage and bands and music and everything here, and there was just people. You couldn't see the end of the people, to be honest. It was from here all the way down to that village that I showed you earlier. It was just full of people.
Sitting here with you as an ally, especially in rural parts of Scotland, we kind of get the feeling like there's been some positive shifts in diversity, inclusiveness, open-mindedness. Maybe you could share with us your story and how you got started in the LGBTQ+ community and how Perthshire Pride came to be to connect us all here in this space.
Yeah, of course. So I'm from Perth. I grew up, born and bred in Perth. I went to school here. I've lived here all my life. But I decided to go off to Dundee to university for a couple of years. And that's kind of when I started realising I was gay. I think everyone always asks you what, like the coming out story, like how did you even know you were gay? I can truly say I did not realise I was gay in Perth. I didn't. It was not something that I knew. It always felt a little bit different, but I think a lot of people always do. It wasn't until I went to university in Dundee that I seen a different life, I guess. I was kind of more exposed to just different people, different communities, and eventually I did realise that the reason I was drawn to certain communities so much was because I myself identified as LGBT. So that's where I kind of came into myself, and there's quite a big and decent scene actually in Dundee, and I was living quite openly, living quite happily as a gay person. And then I decided after I'd finished up my university degree to go off to Australia. And so this is a very long-winded way to tell you the coming out story, but when I was in Australia, again, they have a quite open LGBT community in the cities, in Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, etc. They have quite an open community. So again, I was living very happily and open. The Australia immigration didn't particularly work out. It wasn't for me, and I decided to come back after a year of living out there. And when I came back to Perth to live here. That's my hometown. And it almost kind of felt like a drop back to earth almost. Coming back to Perth, there was nothing really here for LGBT people. I almost felt like I kind of had to retreat back into the closet in some way. Like some ways, there isn't any gay bars or gay cafes or really anything out in the open to celebrate really the LGBT people in Perth. And I think there was a realisation for me that the reason I didn't realise I was gay in Perth was because I'd never really seen or heard of that community before. Not that it was hidden or, you know, it wasn't that they were doing that on purpose. It just wasn't really a place that, you know, it was out in the open. So I took it upon myself to kind of change that. I was getting sick of the fact that I had to keep on going over to, you know, Dundee or Glasgow or Edinburgh to find my community. And I was like, there should be something here for people like me, and it's not going to change if somebody doesn't change it. So I took it upon myself to start up Perthshire Pride. It started back in 2017 from a consultation that was run by a company called Pink Saltire. They're a national charity. They do really, really good work all over Scotland. And they were running consultations to see if Perth would be a good place for a Pride. It obviously works in the Glasgows, it works in the Edinburghs, it works in the larger cities, but they wanted to start taking it more to the smaller cities and the more rural areas, because at the end of the day, the real change is going to happen in these smaller areas. The cities are always where there's going to be like a mixing pot of people, whereas sometimes the cities, the smaller cities and the more rural parts of Scotland, you don't really see that as much. So they ran the consultations, kind of putting out feelers, do you think this is something that people want? The response was that yes, it was something that people in Perth and surrounding areas did want. And then they started looking for people to actually take it forward. So it was almost a good timing kind of situation. They were doing the research and putting the feelers out, and I was looking to take on something, and I was feeling the way that they were wanting people, asking if people did feel like that, and I was. And I went to one of their consultations, was kind of empowered to take it on, and I started running it back in 2017 with a very, very small team, and it didn't properly take off till about 2018 when we officially got our charity status. A lot of kind of hard work went into that, and a lot of paperwork and a lot of the kind of the boring things to allow us to actually start up the charity. And then that was when we officially took off, was in 2018. That's when we started getting a lot more publicity, a lot more attention, to I think a lot more shock. A lot of people were like, wow, is this actually going to happen? And I think a lot of ridicule as well, to be honest, when people were like, oh really, I don't think it's going to work in Perth. And luckily we managed to prove them wrong.
It reminds me of a song sung by the beloved children's TV host Fred Rogers, and it was on one of the episodes about appreciating our uniqueness, and it kind of goes like this. It kind of goes, love is as fragile as our tears. Love is stronger than our fears. Do you know the next bit?
Yeah, so it's when your heart has room for everybody, then your heart is full of love.
I feel like what Rev Scott Burton did, what you've done, what Ian McKellen's done, I really do feel like the heroes within these communities, they rise and they empower all of the others within this community to rise up with them and to express themselves and just to have that confidence. That's kind of like, as an ally, as a person looking in, someone who's new to this community, who's essentially a stranger to the LGBTQ plus community, to look in and to see this, it's, even for me, it's really empowering, and it's really such a beautiful thing to see. Just being able to see the world being much more inclusive of people who are different, and there's, different is beautiful.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it takes all kinds to make a world.
Yeah.
So, speaking of room for everybody, I was aware that there's much more friendly spaces in Perth And I was wondering if you could recommend one or two to us that we could maybe check out.
Yeah, so there's a lovely place on George Street, which is called George Street Tea Room, which is a definite place to check out for lunch. It's definitely LGBT friendly as well, lovely place. Down as well, if you like games and things like that, there is Big Dog Books. They're a comic book store that also have like lots of like really cool and unusual board games. Ones you'll probably never have heard of as well, but they're so much fun. We've went a few times and they're really great, really welcoming, really open, and you'll have a lot of fun there. And one place as well that we definitely see utilised near the Pride times is a Rock and Beauty Salon, which is down on Scott Street. They do lots of like cool, funky hairstyles, really friendly for anybody that identifies as LGBT as well. Lots of cool hairstyles, lots of colours, really good place there. You should definitely check them out.
It's been such a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you for sharing your time, and it's been empowering, eye-opening, and inspiring to be able to hear your story. So thank you ever so much, Claire.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, taking a little bit of my heartbeat, breaking a little bit of my heart.
This is a wee city we don't admire or appreciate. We love it.
You know you got it if it makes you feel good.
And nestled within its scenic streets and Georgian charm are the simple pleasures of life. If there's any place that knows a thing or two about beauty, it's right here.
So we've got an appointment with a local salon just off the high street. It's actually right behind me. And not to get our nails painted, but who knows? The woman who actually owns Rock and Beauty Salon has experience attending Pride events here, and she welcomes people from all walks of life through her doors every single day. They say beauty lies within. Maybe we'll get a subtle reminder of that with our experience here today. I tell you what, why don't we go on and have a wee look and see what it is, see what it's all about. Come on.
Well, this is my little salon, like Rock and Beauty Salon. There's nobody in here but me today, but I just thought I would introduce you a little bit to the kind of the area and what we have going on here. It's actually quite a bigger space than it looks from the outside, which is quite good. TARDIS style, it's good. So we've got the little seating area here. Obviously with the pandemic and things, we have it spread out and we can't have people sitting next to each other, but this is our wee seating area. We've got a little bit of our retail products over there, which as usual is cruelty free, and all these ones are also vegan friendly, and the packaging is eco-friendly too, which is a bonus. Our little reception desk over here, so we usually have Leslie behind the counter. She keeps us all going. She's like the heart of the group. This is where Ryan does all his magic with the hair, and this will be Rebecca's station when she that's Ryan's apprentice, so she'll be starting this week, and she'll be over here when she starts getting her own clients in. And we have started introducing solid shampoos and conditioners because they're more environmentally friendly and they've got the recyclable packaging. We have Moroccan oil, we have Razul, which is, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's part of the Leighton House brand, which is an Australian brand, which we absolutely love and adore. All those products are cruelty free, and all the shampoos and conditioners and the kind of Finola and the Olaplex and the Ancient Wisdom are vegan as well, which is better. But we've got a new barber starting. She's phenomenal. She's coming up, she worked in Leeds for 4 years, and she's worked with like many famous barbers, and her skills at doing fades and beards is just out of this world. In the 90s, I was head to toe black. Black eyeliner, looked like a panda. Well, an inverse panda. Placebo loving, gothic, The Cure, yeah, like big long black dresses and a black velvet cloak. Still have a black velvet cloak, so they're still part of that. It's like part of my identity. So I love the kind of aesthetic of roses. They're just so very gothic. I do love them, especially if they're dark blood red. So RBG, you know who that is, yeah?
Yeah.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. He's like, yeah, sure do. The notorious RBG, may she rest in peace. So we've just quotes that really inspired me. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's amazing. I love her. Like, they need more people like her in politics for sure. Maya Angelou, what a soul, what a beautiful soul. Frida Kahlo, Bette Midler, who, I mean, like, it's Bette Midler, who doesn't love Midler. Yeah, just like kind of quotes that have inspired me. My wish for you is that you continue to be who and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. Maya Angelou had a way with words like no other. She was such a good human. And that's all you can do, just be a good human at the end of the day.
And so you've got the Pride events. When you go to the Pride events, one thing you notice is all the wonderful hair. Like the colours are amazing.
I know.
Like a lot of these people come into this place. Like a lot of these people come and they get their hair done and they go to the event.
Isn't mine just so good with the hair?
Yeah.
He's amazing.
But how does it make you feel when you see your community there expressing themselves with such confidence and conviction?
Hate to overuse a word, but definitely proud. Definitely proud. Damn proud. I mean, to see them just not care what anyone thinks, just doing their own thing, being themselves, enjoying themselves, expressing who they are and not caring what anyone else thinks, just being who they are is wonderful. And I feel proud, and I feel humbled to be a part of that. Like, no matter how small the part is, that I can be a little part of that and help people feel good about themselves and be a little boost for someone. That's humbling, and that's amazing, and I love my job because of that. Love who you love. Like, I've got no right to tell anyone who they love, as long as it's all consensual and, you know, there's no power dynamic going on, that it's all age appropriate, and then just love who you love. Definitely. And, you know, you're not related. So definitely. And yeah, this so important. Autism is such a misunderstood, and I didn't really know much about it neither before I had my son, and he's opened my eyes in so many different ways. So shout out to Perth Autism Support, wonderful people that they are. Make sure you donate when you can, because those guys have gotten me and my son through some incredibly tough times. Definitely, and helping us through an incredibly tough time that we're going through right now, and I think they're wonderful people, and they deserve all the praise and all the monies. They definitely do.
What a lovely wee space that was. It really is amazing what we can discover about people and places by just listening to them over a wee chat. You know, I've got a funny feeling that Claire was maybe trying to tell us that if we have the courage to do the right things the way we want to do them, we'll be pleasantly surprised at how loud our whispers can become.
So come on, yeah. Taking all living in my heart, breaking all living in my heart, yeah. Telling all living in my heart. You know you got it if it makes you feel good.
When we travel through Perth, we get the sense that the residents and visitors are delighted to be here. And no wonder when we have all this on our doorstep. Today, the North Inch is used for recreation and relaxation. In ancient times though, as shown in the nearby Perth Museum, this place was the centre of bloody battles. King Robert III of Scotland would watch staged battles made up of 60 men from rival clans fight each other to the death. And just as King Robert was responsible for the kind of contributions he made, more of us today at the local level are empowered with creating the places and circumstances that enable us to do the things we can be proud of.
Today was my second week, okay? So last week was very eye-opening for me. It was, at some point, it was very emotional, but I absolutely loved the effort that everyone was putting. And I've never done anything like that. I'm not from here, I'm from Greece, and I don't think that we do anything like that. So I felt very happy that Tammy can provide that to people. And again, very happy that I was part of it, because you kind of think that you help them exercise and do what's best for them and adapt, but basically they're helping you as well, because you get great happiness out of it. And it's just an amazing idea that you provide that, actually, that you allow that to happen. Because if it's only the basic activities they can do, then it's not taking the liberty of doing something out of the ordinary.
We've come to meet another local lady. She's somewhere on the big green patch behind us, and she knows a thing or two about creating inclusive spaces. So I thought we'd go have a wee wander and see what's up. Maybe we can discover a thing or two. Come along. Just as I was on my way here, I was thinking of the last 2 years that we've been through together, and I really wanted to learn more about what that experience has been like for you.
Yeah, well, it's been certainly different, you know, like many people. You know, it's had its ups and downs. When we first went into lockdown, I was manager of Fit for Less, and it was already a bit up in the air, the gym, because of the landlord wanted to change the way that he had the building. So we didn't know what was going to happen. We were all feeling a bit at a loss for our community, for the team we built, and the place, the things we had done. You know, that's a lot of effort that we've put in and a lot of passion. So we were a bit at a loss. We went into lockdown, and eventually we were made redundant, all of the team. So while there was heartache, we also discovered opportunities. And I think that's really, really important that people look at things like that, you know. So we had the people still sticking with us. We had the ideas, we still knew what we wanted to do. So instead of just sitting there and allowing this to pass us by and feel the loss, we created Vitality Me, which is a community interest company, and that means that we deliver services in the community and have a social responsibility to support groups. Everything's reinvested, so it's pretty much a not-for-profit. So we do that, and it's all about supporting people in their health, fitness, and well-being.
So maybe these past 2 years have actually reminded us of how dependent we actually are on each other. And I wondered if there was something from the bad that you had experienced that sort of opens your heart and compelled you to act.
You know what, one day I'm going to tell a story here. So we were at Fit for Less, and one of our PTs, Siobhan, comes in, and she's got a brother, Chrissy, who has Down syndrome. And Chrissy comes in, and whenever Siobhan was taking her clients, he would just pot her around the gym, you know, working out. And one Friday I was teaching a kettlebells class, and Chrissy was in the background copying the moves. And I was like, come on in, you know, there's nothing from it. And afterwards, his sister Siobhan was saying, that's amazing, like, you have no idea what that's done to him. Like, he loves that, you've accepted him into that. And then from there, we noticed that there was nothing in Perth and Kinross that was fitness-based for people with additional support needs. Nothing. There's a lot of sporting opportunities, but not a fitness-based opportunity. So again, let's do it. We created our own class. So we created an indoor class that obviously had to stop when the gym shut down. We were getting inundated with people saying, when's the class starting back? When are we getting back in? So we created our own. And that's where we changed it to a Fit for All boot camp, because that's what they want. People with disabilities want to be included as much as anybody, so they have their own disability. So it's for anybody, with sensory, physical or learning disabilities, and we run a boot camp like we would any other class. I always say kindness is contagious, and I will repeat this time and time again because kindness is contagious. When you smile at someone walking past them or say good morning, it lifts your mood and it lifts their mood. Like, you have no idea what that person's going through, and you could change their day 100%. And then that person is happier. That person's more likely to go do something for someone else. Then that person, it's this chain reaction that goes on. So kindness is contagious. So why waste your time being negative or doing mean stuff? Spread the love, spread the kindness. It opens up everything.
Love is love.
Love is love, that's it, absolutely, absolutely.
People are just going, I didn't know you could do that. And that's the best thing. How are you or the best one is, how are you doing that? And they've not realised that I've got an adaptation onto a bar to lift it or something like that, and they've just not realised it. Or I've had to figure all that out beforehand. I've gone through so many adaptations, broken adaptations, but now I've figured it out. I'm lifting as much weight as you, and they're going, oh, there's not much difference in us, you know, that can do, you know.
You see, it's humans at their very, very best, at their loyal, hard-working, very, very best. And I'm deeply moved by this. It's wonderful to see when you see someone doing something absolutely right for the very best of reasons. It shifts your center of gravity and silences you. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I wish the guys all the very best, and I'm sure you do too.
Can you believe it? A wee 20-minute stroll from the city centre and we find ourselves amongst the wild things. It's a lovely wee place, accessible to all, peaceful and shrouded in a myth about a dragon who apparently once had its cave deep within these cliffs sometime back in the 6th century. In fact, it's the very cave William Wallace is rumoured to have used as a hiding place away from the English. The whereabouts of this cave, however, will have to remain a mystery, at least for now.
So, these things here can be found scattered all around Kinnoull Hill Park. Now, you've not just a house, you've got various animals as well. So you've got eagles and falcons and hedgehogs and squirrels and you name it. Apparently, they've been carved by a guy named Pete Beauchamp. Here's the thing, he's the Scottish champion in wood carving. However, the reason why they've been carved into animals is because in this park, there's various species that we never really see because they're quite shy with humans. And so they've been carved in wood so that we never miss them. How cool is that?
It was Thomas Hay, the 9th Earl of Kinnoull, who built the modest 18th century clifftop castle here after his return from a grand tour of Germany.
Well, it looks like this wee place, as we thought, is going under some structural maintenance at the moment, so we can't really get in because, I don't know if you can see here, there is a wee doorway. We can get in there and it's got a wee window and you can look down at the water and the trees below. Such a great sight. Maybe we can see it over here as well. There's a wee bit here that you can see out of, see how it goes all the way down. Such a great sight.
His wife, however, didn't think anything grand of it and described the place as a hideous dungeon, so totally inaccessible that she expected to have to be pulled up here by a rope for the rest of her days. Sometimes it's easy for us to forget that 98% of Scotland is rural and remote, but it's something we're constantly reminded of each time we look out over the River Tay.
We're gonna be knowing which path to choose or which to sacrifice. Maybe you've been desecrated or even obligated, but you have the right to choose. There's no snooze, then you lose. So look them in the eyes and tell them being kind.
It's one of those wee things that happens when you come up here. Nothing can prepare us for the feeling we get standing right at the edge and looking back at how far and high we've come.
We're literally taking in the air, the hills, the water, the trees down below. I mean, how could you be anything else here but happy? So what we've discovered is that progress, fulfillment, and joy, they're byproducts of exploration. And what the world needs from us is for us to walk as ourselves, to contribute as only we can, to find our voice, follow our path, and shed a light for others as we go. And maybe the locally made tea, the Pride tea, maybe that's the dragon's kryptonite. Who knows? You maybe better bring some, better bring some just in case you run into trouble up here. Come on, let's go. I'm going doodally-diddle. Let's go.
Person that would take it on to what it is today.
Okay.
So that was way back.
Totally put up there. Whoops.
Edit out.
Yeah. I'll just increase the sound of that in the edit. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. That was probably my body saying stop.
Yeah, like stop.
Oh, God.